Welcome everyone. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm excited to introduce our presentation, which is all about insert presentation topic. The title is Introduction, and will also have a subtitle if applicable. Over the next few minutes, I'll give you a quick overview of what we'll cover so you know what to expect. Let's get started. Let's take a moment to recap what we discussed in the previous lecture. We focused on the fundamental concepts that form the foundation of our topic. I emphasized the key principles that are essential for understanding the bigger picture. We also explored some practical examples to illustrate how these ideas work in real-world scenarios. Remember, these concepts are the building blocks for everything we'll cover moving forward. Connecting these points to our overall theme helps us see how each piece fits together and why they matter in the broader context. This recap is a great way to reinforce your understanding as we progress through the presentation. So let's talk about what exactly features and characteristics are. When we refer to features, we're talking about the specific attributes or qualities that define a product, service, or even a concept. These are the tangible or measurable aspects that make something unique. Characteristics, on the other hand, are the broader qualities or traits that describe the nature or personality of what we're discussing. They give us a deeper understanding of its identity. Understanding these terms is crucial because they help us communicate clearly about what makes something stand out or meet particular needs. By identifying features and characteristics, we can better compare options, make informed decisions, and tailor solutions to fit specific requirements. Throughout this presentation, you'll see how highlighting these aspects allows us to better understand the value and relevance of different offerings, ensuring we focus on what truly matters to our goals. All right, let's talk about nonlinearity. This is all about the ability of neural networks to solve complex, twisted problems that aren't straightforward. You see, real-world problems are rarely simple straight lines. They're often messy and intricate. That's where nonlinearity comes into play. In artificial neural networks, we use nonlinear activation functions like sigmoid or ReLU. These functions introduce nonlinearity, allowing the network to draw curves and circles instead of just straight lines. This capability is crucial because it enables us to solve hard puzzles, such as the XOR problem, which simple linear models can't handle. So the key point here is that nonlinearity is what makes neural networks powerful and flexible enough to tackle the complex, real-world issues we aim to solve. It's a fundamental characteristic that connects to the overall theme of how neural networks mimic human problem-solving in more sophisticated ways. So let's talk about mapping, which is really about connecting a specific input to the correct output. Think of it like a function that takes in some data and then produces the right answer. This is a fundamental idea in neural networks. ANNs, or artificial neural networks, learn through what we call supervised learning. That means we show them examples where we already know the correct answers, or targets. We give the network the input data along with the target answer, and it uses this information to learn. The network then automatically adjusts its internal parameters, called weights, until the input it receives maps as closely as possible to the correct output. This process is quite powerful because it allows the network to learn from examples rather than being explicitly programmed for every task. In essence, ANNs learn by doing, by iteratively improving their internal settings, rather than following a fixed set of instructions. This input-output mapping, or learning, is what enables neural networks to perform complex tasks and adapt to new data. It's a core characteristic that really sets them apart and drives their success in many applications. Let's talk about adaptivity, which is really about the ability to change and adjust to new environments. The real world is always changing, and that's something we need to account for. An artificial neural network, or ANN, has this great feature where it can be retrained with new data without breaking or losing its previous capabilities. Its weights, which are like the settings that determine how it makes decisions, remain flexible. This flexibility allows the ANN to adapt, helping it survive and solve new problems as they arise. So, adaptivity is a key characteristic because it ensures that our models stay relevant and effective even as conditions evolve. It ties into the overall theme of creating intelligent systems that can learn and grow with their environment. Fault tolerance is all about the system's ability to keep working even if parts of it break. In a normal computer, if a wire breaks, the whole system might crash or stop working properly. But in an artificial neural network, or ANN, knowledge isn't stored in just one place. Instead, it's spread across thousands of weights. This means that even if a few neurons die or produce bad data, the network can still give a good answer. This redundancy makes neural networks quite resilient. It's an important characteristic because it shows how these systems can handle real-world imperfections and still perform reliably. It really highlights one of the key strengths of neural networks in comparison to traditional computing. Let's talk about VLSI, or Very Large-Scale Integration, which is all about making tiny microchips that pack in a huge number of transistors. This technology is crucial because it allows us to create powerful yet compact hardware. Now, where do neural networks fit into this picture? Well, ANNs are perfect for hardware chips because they perform simple math operations, multiplying and adding, many times simultaneously. This parallel processing capability makes neural networks highly efficient for hardware implementation. And the exciting part is, thanks to VLSI, we can actually put these neural networks directly onto camera chips and smartphones. This means smarter, faster devices right in our pockets. Now, let's focus on the key point here, VLSI implementability. This characteristic highlights how neural networks can be practically integrated into hardware, making advanced AI accessible and efficient in everyday devices. So overall, VLSI enables us to realize the full potential of neural networks by embedding them directly into the hardware we use every day, driving innovation forward in a big way. Let's take a moment to review the 5 superpowers of artificial neural networks. First up is nonlinearity. This means that neural networks can solve complex, curvy problems that traditional linear models simply can't handle. It's what allows them to recognize intricate patterns and make sense of complicated data. Next is learning mapping. Neural networks are great at learning rules from examples. Instead of being explicitly programmed with every possible rule, they figure out the relationships on their own based on the data they're trained on. This makes them incredibly versatile and adaptable. Third, we have adaptivity. Neural networks can adjust to new, changing data over time. So, as conditions evolve or new information comes in, they can update their understanding without needing a complete overhaul, much like how our brains adapt to new experiences. Fourth is fault tolerance. Even if a part of the network gets damaged or there's noise in the data, neural networks can still function effectively. This resilience is crucial for real-world applications where perfect conditions are rare. Finally, VLSI, Very Large-Scale Integration, means that neural networks can be built directly into hardware chips. This allows for faster processing and efficiency, making neural networks practical for embedded systems and real-time applications. To sum up, these 5 superpowers, nonlinearity, learning mapping, adaptivity, fault tolerance, and VLSI, highlight the incredible capabilities that make ANNs so powerful and versatile within the broader field of AI. Today, we're going to explore the different types of neural networks, which are fundamental to understanding how artificial intelligence processes information. As you can see, there are several key types, each designed for specific tasks and challenges. First, we have the feed-forward neural networks, which are the simplest form. They process data in one direction, from input to output, and are great for basic classification problems. Then, there's the recurrent neural networks, or RNNs, which are capable of handling sequential data like time series or language, because they have loops that allow information to persist. This makes them ideal for language modeling and speech recognition. Moving on, we encounter convolutional neural networks, or CNNs, which are especially powerful for image and video analysis due to their ability to detect spatial hierarchies in visual data. And finally, we have more advanced types like transformers, which have revolutionized natural language processing by effectively managing long-range dependencies in text. Understanding these different types helps us see how neural networks are tailored to solve a wide array of real-world problems, reinforcing the overall theme that choosing the right architecture is key to effective AI solutions. Let's take a closer look at Type 1, single-layer feed-forward networks. These are among the simplest neural network structures, consisting of an input layer directly connected to an output layer. Think of it as a straightforward process. Data goes in, gets processed in one step, and then produces an output. The key point here is that there's no hidden layer, just one layer of weights connecting inputs to outputs. This simplicity makes them easy to understand and implement, but it also means they have limited capacity for capturing complex patterns. In the context of our overall discussion on neural networks, single-layer feed-forward networks are foundational. They help us grasp the basics of how information flows and is transformed within a network. While more advanced architectures build on this concept, understanding this simple model provides a solid stepping stone for exploring more complex neural network designs. All right, let's visualize this on the board. First, we draw our inputs, which are X1 and X2. These represent the trigger words we're analyzing in the email. Next, we draw the output Y1, which will tell us whether the email is spam or not. Now, we add arrows pointing forward from the inputs to the output, illustrating how the inputs influence the final decision. This simple diagram helps us see the flow of information in a basic single-layer model. As a real-world example, think of a straightforward spam filter that bases its decision on just 2 trigger words. This example shows how even a simple, single-layer setup can be effective in some practical situations. Let's take a closer look at Type 2, multi-layer feed-forward networks. These networks are a fundamental building block in deep learning. Unlike a simple single-layer network, multi-layer networks have several layers of neurons, which allows them to learn more complex patterns and representations. Each layer takes the output from the previous layer, processes it, and passes it on forward. This layered approach is crucial because it enables the network to build hierarchical features. Think of how we recognize objects by combining simple shapes into more complex structures. The key point here is that these multiple layers give the network greater capacity to model intricate relationships in data, making them powerful for tasks like image recognition, natural language processing, and more. When connecting this to the overall theme, it highlights how increasing network depth can significantly improve performance, provided we manage the challenges like vanishing gradients and overfitting. So, understanding the structure and function of multi-layer feed-forward networks is essential for grasping how modern AI models achieve their impressive capabilities. All right, let's visualize this together on the board. First, we'll start with step 1, draw inputs. Imagine these as the raw data points or features coming into our network. Next, for step 2, we draw hidden nodes. These are the layers where the magic happens, where the network begins to interpret and process the inputs. Then, in step 3, we draw the output, connecting everything forward so the network can produce a result. To make this more concrete, think about a real-world example like recognizing a human face. The hidden layer doesn't just see a face. It combines simple features like edges to help us see a nose or an eye. It's like building blocks that come together to form a more complex understanding. Now, for our second example, we're looking at a multi-layer type of network. This is similar to what we're doing here, stacking layers to enhance the network's ability to learn and recognize patterns. This layered structure is key to how deep learning models achieve their impressive accuracy. Now, let's move on to Type 3, which is the recurrent neural network, or RNN. RNNs are a special kind of neural network designed to handle sequential data, like text, speech, or time series. The key idea here is that they have a sort of memory. They remember previous inputs, which helps them understand context over sequences. This makes them particularly powerful for tasks like language modeling, translation, or even predicting the next word in a sentence. What really sets RNNs apart is their ability to process sequences step by step, maintaining information across time. Think of it as reading a sentence word by word, keeping track of what you've already read to understand the meaning. This ability to capture temporal dependencies is what makes RNNs so valuable in many real-world applications involving sequences. Overall, RNNs are a fundamental building block in deep learning when it comes to sequential data, connecting nicely with the broader theme of creating models that understand and generate human-like language or temporal patterns. Let's talk about reinforcement and some common mistakes to watch out for. Reinforcement, as you know, is all about encouraging the behaviors we want to see more of. It's a powerful tool when used correctly, but it can also backfire if not applied thoughtfully. One key point is consistency, making sure that reinforcement is given promptly and regularly to strengthen the desired behavior. Another important aspect is understanding what motivates each individual, so we tailor our reinforcement accordingly. Now, on the flip side, there are common mistakes that can undermine our efforts. For example, over-rewarding can diminish intrinsic motivation, while under-rewarding might not have the desired effect at all. Also, inconsistent reinforcement can confuse people about what behaviors are truly valued. And of course, using reinforcement as a punishment or in a negative way can harm morale and trust. So, connecting this back to our overall theme, effective reinforcement is about fostering a positive, motivating environment. Being aware of these common pitfalls helps us avoid them and ensures our reinforcement strategies truly support growth and improvement. Let's take a moment to recap the key points from today's lecture. First, we discuss the importance of understanding the core concepts behind our topic, which helps us see the bigger picture and apply what we've learned. We then explored the main techniques and strategies that can be used to address the challenges we identified, emphasizing their practical applications. Additionally, we highlighted how these ideas connect to the overall theme of the presentation, showing how each piece fits into the broader context. Remember, the goal is to integrate these insights into your own work and continue building on this foundation. Thanks for staying engaged throughout. Now you're better equipped to move forward with confidence. Now, let's take a moment to look at some practice questions. These are designed to help you solidify your understanding of the key concepts we've covered today. As you go through these questions, think about how the ideas we've discussed connect to real-world situations. Remember, the goal is not just to get the right answer, but to really understand the reasoning behind it. By practicing these questions, you'll be better prepared to apply what you've learned and handle similar challenges confidently. So, take your time, reflect on each question, and see how it ties back to the overall theme of this presentation.